Hi, you're tuning in to AWANI Review with me, Cynthia Ng, and joining me today is Datin, Mina, Cheah-Foong. She's the Managing Director of The Body Shop Malaysia. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thanks for having us in this really beautiful outlet.
My pleasure. We just newly renovated this, and this store actually exhibits our latest store design.
Let's talk about your start in cosmetics, right? You brought Body Shop Malaysia to Malaysia 35 years ago. Tell us, how did you get started in the business?
I was a student in the UK, and I walked by this store one day in London, and I said, hey, what is the picture of Greenpeace doing in this store? Because I was a member of Greenpeace, and I thought, fine, I must go in and investigate. And I found out that it was actually a cosmetic store selling creams and shampoos and so on. But beyond that, they were actually campaigning to save the whales, and they never used animal products in their lotions and so on. And I thought that was such a wonderful and novel idea 35 years ago. So I bought this, I bought the products, and when I came back to Malaysia, I couldn't find it. So I was working in a job at that time, and I thought, wow, how wonderful it would be if I could open up a body shop store. Then I could come in, open the store when I felt like it, and I was feeling a bit tired, I'll lock up the store and go home. But the reality is 35 years later, as you can see, retail is actually a very grueling profession. It's on 24/7, and you're always forward-facing, dealing with customers, and there's no such thing as locking up your shop and going home when you feel tired. You're open from 10 in the morning until 10 at night, and you're busiest when everybody else is at rest, public holidays and Sundays and weekends.
I read that you started the business, you wanted to get into business because you want to start a family, right?
Yes.
So thinking that you can have the balance of working as well as spending time with your family, but I guess it didn't quite turn out the way it was supposed to be.
You know, I'm very grateful for the choice that I made at that time, because it actually did allow me to spend a lot of time with my family. It's a matter of perspective. When family time, I would put them in the car with me, I'll try my best to pick them up from school, and I could do that sometimes because it was my own business. I managed to spend a lot of time with them, not in the traditional sense of being weekends, but after schools, on school days, and pickups from school. I could do that like a regular mom. But I also had my career, which I really enjoyed and I'm very grateful for.
Well, 35 years on, how has the brand evolved over the years? I mean, Body Shop is known for its natural beauty products, of course, and very strong stance against animal testing. How has it evolved? Is it still the same values that you have when you first started 35 years ago?
Yeah, I think when you embrace universal values, they are everlasting. It's not a fad, it's not something that comes and goes. When you talk about cruelty to animals, to children, it doesn't matter which era you are in. Cruelty is cruelty, wrong is wrong. So what we started out with, the values that we started out with 35 years ago are still very relevant today. And in fact, you can see a lot of brands embracing this, the ethos of cruelty-free cosmetics, of not testing on animals. Now it's become the norm. When we started out, people were very skeptical, the industry was very skeptical, and customers were actually a little bit unsure. And we were having questions like, if you don't test on animals, is it safe for me to use? So we spent many years actually educating customers on how animal testing is unscientific, unreliable, and totally ineffective. So, and I think, I would like the Body Shop to claim credit for actually spreading out that there is good alternatives to animal testing. And you see now, animal testing is actually almost cost of entry if you are a cosmetic brand.
Well, quite interesting point, because I think, like you said, Body Shop did a lot of legwork, right? And initially, you made sustainability, caring for the environment and animals sexy, well before it became a corporate mantra in the beauty industry. But speaking of that, so many competition coming up right now, going into that same area, healthy images. How do you stay apart, stay ahead of the competition?
I really am so happy that brands and businesses are actually embracing sustainability. I'm not jealous or possessive about it. I'm very happy that competition is actually embracing sustainability, because it really is part of what I truly believe that my business, what I want my business to do, to be a force for good. And if we can influence other businesses by our successes and they copy us in terms of sustainability, in terms of cruelty-free, in terms of social responsibility, I'm really happy with all of that.
But has it impacted sales in any way with this growing competition?
Okay, no, it hasn't. We've managed to grow throughout all our 35 years. Every single year for the past 35 years, we've had growth. I think that speaks to us being first and us being authentic. And over 35 years, you can see our authenticity. It's very hard to fake. You can fake it for a while, but you cannot fake it for 35 years. And I think our customers see that. I think the market respects that, that we've been doing this for a long time and we're here to stay. Our messaging is, at the very core, is still the same. Business as a force for good.
But there was a period of time, I think about 11 years, that the Body Shop worldwide was under the L'Oreal Group, which tests on animals before it returned to its activist roots when it was brought over by the Brazilian group Natura in 2017.
Yes.
So during that period, of course, you have this big worldwide brand, and do you have any say into what you put out in stores? I mean, the ethos and values, how did it impact the sales at all?
Okay, when Anita sold the brand off to L'Oreal, they had a deal where the Body Shop would be ring-fenced. And yes, we took a lot of flack because of L'Oreal continuing with animal testing, particularly in the US. And I think it did damage us. But this is what businesses force you to do. Anita needed to have a home for the Body Shop, and it was the L'Oreal Group or it was a venture capitalist group. And for me personally, I was very happy when Anita sold it off to L'Oreal, because L'Oreal also try. They also know, apart from the heart, their head also tells them that this is the way to go. Consumers want sustainability. They want to look beautiful, feel good, but be doing good at the same time. So I do believe that L'Oreal actually tried their best, but we've had a good parting of the ways. And now we're back with Natura, which is a company that Anita originally was wanting to sell to, but at that time Natura was expanding so massively in their own Latin American countries. They really couldn't take on a brand like the Body Shop.
So, well, to our viewers, of course, Anita Roddick is the founder of the Body Shop and conceptualized the whole brand and the values.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to move into marketing, right? Marketing to first-time younger consumers who are more budget conscious. What is your strategy? How do you do it?
I think younger consumers are budget conscious by circumstances. But once they get a job, they can exercise their own. They're no longer so budget conscious. But more than money, I think consumers, the modern young consumer, they're interested in choices. They're interested in making their own decisions, and they're interested in values a lot more than the previous generation. And I think particularly so in Malaysia, where this current generation of millennials have never experienced war, they've never experienced deprivation. And I think they value self and self-expression. And now, we've come really into a good space for the Body Shop, in that the young are the people who are championing sustainability. They are the ones who are championing veganism, vegetarianism, being cruelty-free from a choice perspective, not from a religious perspective or from a family perspective, but because they've read, they're very well informed, and they've made a conscious choice. And what millennials want is to be respected for their choices. So I think the Body Shop is very well positioned.
Are you using beauty influencers in your marketing? Because a lot of brands are doing that right now.
Okay, I think influencers are great if they can be authentic. And that when you go into the area of paying an influencer for a review, then there's this conundrum of paid authenticity, and that I find a bit of a challenge. But you know what I feel are our best influencers? Our customers. they have their own social media presence, they have their own network of friends, and they pay us to buy the product, and then they go and review it to their friends and family. Now that is a truly authentic influencer, and we have hundreds of thousands of people who are
So Body Shop
using
stays
products.
away from actually using beauty influencers.
We do invite influencers to come to our...
But of course, a certain criteria that bodes with the values of Body Shop, right?
Yes, we, like I was saying about authenticity, we have to be authentic to ourselves. And just because you have, 2 million followers, or we are not going to ask you to come, because if you don't subscribe to the kind of values that we subscribe to. We are for women's empowerment, we are for human rights, we are for animal protection. So the people that we invite need to be, to subscribe to those same values, same core values, and of being more than just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Which is quite interesting, because Body Shop and yourself, you don't just advocate against animal testing. You're in such a big range of issues, like taking a stance on issues like child marriage.
Yes.
You fundraise for the Malaysian AIDS Foundation. These are things that normally beauty brands do not go into. It's a bit risky.
Yeah, this is the wonderful thing about owning my business, is that I have the freedom to actually go in. Some people might say, you got to focus, you got to build your strength or your profile in one area. I don't believe in doing that, because there's so many things that we can help with, so many things that we can do. And it is actually limited only by our own thoughts, and not by the abilities. If you want to do it, you can do it. So these issues, I think, are a core part of what the Body Shop is about, because I cannot sit here and talk about human rights when children are getting married off, little girls are getting married off to old men. How can I sit there and talk about women's empowerment when this child is being so disempowered in our own country? So it's something that I felt very strongly about, that I still feel very strongly about, and I wanted to say something about it. And same with HIV/AIDS, because when we started working on HIV/AIDS about 25, almost 30 years ago now, it was a taboo subject, because people said, oh, don't talk about AIDS. And we actually sell condoms in the store, because that's one of the safest ways. We still do, because really the most effective way to fight HIV is ABC: abstinence, being faithful, and using condoms. So it's an essential part of HIV prevention. And when we started doing that in the stores, I think this must have been almost 30 years ago, I had actually customers and friends coming telling me, oh, you mustn't be doing that. If you have that in the store, I won't allow my daughter to come to shop in your store. And I was thinking, my goodness, why would you not want your child to have information to protect herself? So, but anyway, we pushed ahead, and after so many years, we've raised hundreds of thousands of ringgit for the Malaysian AIDS Foundation, and our shop has thrived. So I guess, it's this miasma of fear that keeps people away from doing anything of anything good, because, there's political risk, there's a risk of boycott, there's a risk of customers not liking it, or there's a risk of something else. But in truth, customers support us. We offer a venue for customers to speak out, because sometimes by yourself, you could feel very alone
isolated
and helpless. What can I, one person, do? But if you've ever been in bed with a mosquito, you know what one little mosquito can do to you. So you as a person, you have power. And if you cannot do it by yourself, join a collective.
Do you have the freedom to choose the advocacy that you like? Or how does it jive into your corporate values, is what I mean?
That's why I love the Body Shop. That's why I love this business. And it's very hard. If I was running something else, corporate might come in and say, hey, you can't do this. This might jeopardize our business of selling car tires or whatever it is, But with this one, the basis of the Body Shop is rooted in the community. And what the community requires, I think we have a moral responsibility to step up and offer, because we are making money off this community. When the community needs someone to speak up, I feel it is our moral duty to actually step up. So there's no conundrum with that, but it's been very, very hard to find another company or another range of products that would support this, and that's why I'm so glad Natura has bought the Body Shop, because then it allows us to also represent Natura in Malaysia.
Well, let's talk about expansion plans. I understand that the Body Shop Malaysia is looking to list on Bursa Malaysia. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, we're in the process of submission with the Securities Commission, and that is a process that will take its time. But my motivations for actually going for this listing is to enable us to truly participate in to truly achieve our triple bottom line. You know, we've got profits, we have our principles, but we've not been able to share the profits with the people, with our partners, with our staff, with our customers, and people who've helped us along the way. This listing allows us to do that. It allows us to take what is essentially a private company into the public sphere, and for us to share what we have privately with the public.
Why is this the right time to float?
I don't think there's ever going to be a right time. I'm not looking to game the system by choosing a time. I don't believe, you know, the timing, but in timing anything really. When you are ready, when my people are ready, when the company is ready, I think, you know, it's the right time.
And how much are you looking to raise? How would you use the proceeds?
We're looking to raise about 200 million, and the proceeds will be used to expand the business and basically to help us expand in Vietnam and in Cambodia, and to improve our IT systems so that we are truly omni-channel.
Okay. What about Malaysia? Are you looking to expand your stores?
We are looking to improve our stores. We are very well covered in Malaysia, and it's a matter of watching where our customers prefer to shop and then locating our stores conveniently for them.
So is brick and mortar stores, do you think it's still something that is relevant to customers? Or?
Very much so, particularly in Malaysia, where we have such a malling culture. We love our shopping malls, right?
We have too many shopping malls.
Yeah, yes, you know, good for us, not so good for the mall developers because we have so much choice now. But people go to the malls to eat, shop, play, enjoy the air conditioning, get outdoors but away from the haze. So I think malls are going to be sustained in Malaysia for a long time.
What about Cambodia? What did you see in Cambodia that looks like an exciting market for the Body Shop?
We started in Vietnam 10 years ago, and we think Cambodia is about at the stage that that Vietnam is at when we went in, and Cambodia is a really exciting market to be in, because they've you know, it's really moved on so much from when I first went. You know, all we think about Cambodia is the killing fields and Siem Reap with Angkor Wat and so on. But it's so much more than that. The people are vibrant, they are young, and they want to progress. So I think, you know, we're going to have a fantastic time in Cambodia.
And when are you looking to go into Cambodia? Do you have a time frame?
Yes, we have a store location. We've secured a store location in the top mall in Cambodia, prime location, as with all our stores. And we will be expecting to open the store at the end of this year.
Okay. Now, speaking of stores, like we said, today is all about the experiences, right? So customers are looking for retail spaces to be to allow them to be creative. So how do you enhance this in-store experience? Because I'm looking, we are at this top store right now.
Yes.
Just 20 meters down the road, you have a giant cosmetic store that sells all brands unimaginable. We shall not name the name, but how do you make this exciting for customers when they walk in?
You know, I think that's I think we have a very different perspective, outlook for our customers. Customers come to us because they value naturalness, they value organic, they value vegetarian, they value cruelty-free. And when they walk into our store, they know all of this is here. So whereas if you walk into a multi-brand store, you've got to do a lot of work yourself to sort out the wheat from the chaff, the sheep from the goats, you know, because you really don't know. One is marketed next to us. But we stand by our values. All right, we proudly publish all the things that we do here. So when customers walk into the store, first of all, they know what we stand for, all right? So the second thing is that we have testers and trial all over the store. So you know, we invite our customers to come and play, test, trial, perfume themselves for the day, and then walk out and come back again, because we know our business is long term. We're here for 35 years and we're going to be here for the next 35 years. So we're not in a hurry, you know, we're not sort of like, okay, now, you know, that's not where we come from.
So looking ahead, what is your vision for the Body Shop? I mean, how do you see this brand to grow? What is growth to you? Is it just number of sales, number of stores, or how does it look like?
Okay, it doesn't excite me at all. Making another 10 million ringgit, opening another 10 stores, that's not what excites me. What excites me is the ability to reach out to more people, to reach out to more customers so that they can come in and join us on our journey of trying to be a business that's good for the world. I don't want to be the best business in the world. I want to be the best business for the world. And that is my personal motivation. How can I use this business as a force for good? You know, how can we show that Malaysian businesses can make money and be a good corporate citizen and be respectful of its staff, train them, give them information, enlarge their minds and not be afraid of them. You know, that's what I want to do with this business.
How do you build that culture in the DNA of the company, your staff, and how do you make that come out, you know, when they serve the customers?
I think it's very difficult because our schooling system does not prepare our staff our citizens to speak out. We're taught to sit down, be quiet, and be respectful and just learn. But you need to regurgitate this learning, but we are never taught how to speak out, and that's something that we do a lot in our training. We have 36 hours of compulsory volunteerism. Okay, it's compulsory in the sense that at the end of the year you're reviewed on whether you fulfilled your voluntary hours, your volunteering hours, and you can choose not to, but then you just don't get that the review, the tick on that review mark for your annual increment and so on. We organize volunteer activities, and staff are encouraged to actually volunteer at their own, at places that they want. All we want to know is that it's proof. Take a photograph of what you were doing. If you can get someone to authenticate that, great. But if not, never mind. Just take a photograph and show us what you were doing, cleaning up your neighbor's backyard, you know, shopping for your wheelchair-bound neighbor, and stuff like this. So this has encouraged our staff to really step up, because sometimes when you feel small, you say, you know, I'm so poor, how can I help people? I have no money, you know, but you have abilities.
Goes a long way.
And yes, and we find that there's a massive change in that person's outlook when they've gone and done a volunteering event and they found that, hey, I managed to help someone, and it changes the person.
And it changes how they work and serve the customer.
Yes, and they have more confidence in themselves, and they are sure that they have abilities that can help other people just from this simple act of volunteering.
Just a bit about yourself.
Yes.
How do you stay ahead amidst very hyper-demanding environment, especially in the retail space, and particularly more that you are going to be in the public eye very soon with the listing?
Yeah, well, I read a lot. And I swim a lot, and I actually I don't step away from the business, because this business is actually very much a part of me. You know, it's been my life growing up. And I don't believe in the saying that, oh, it's just business. You know, you are what you do, because what you do influences your work. And as a leader, I find that it's very important that I'm consistent. Cannot be saying one thing one day and then doing another thing another. I mean, that just throws people into a tizzy, and they don't know where the lines are. So I'm very consistent, and I'm you know, I try to keep myself healthy. I'm swimming a lot because I want to go to the Galapagos, so I want to be swimming in the Galapagos. So, you know, so I'm keeping myself healthy. But the rest of it, you know, I don't find business stressful, because this is how I live. You know, I don't find dealing with customers stressful, because I can put myself in. I'm a customer in all the other stores anyway, and I treat my customers how I would like to be treated. And so therefore, when customers come in and have a complaint, I try and put myself in their shoes. And when I do that, you know, it's not an issue. You know, she has a complaint. From her perspective, it is always genuine. And if we approach it from that point, you know, that's not, it's not stressful. So I find that I don't separate my life from my work life, my home life, my social life. You know, I don't have these kind of boundaries.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of your values, personal values, jive with the business values.
For sure. And that's why it's been very hard to find another business to do. People always say, oh, you know, even from your body shop is so successful now, why don't you expand and take another business and so on. To find a business that allows me to reflect these sort of shared values, it's incredibly difficult. And so, you know, I've been very fortunate to be able to expand with the body shop into Vietnam and into Cambodia, and now with the Natura brand as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Datin, Mina. This has been great conversation, and I wish you all the best with the expansion and the IPO and everything else.
Thank you.
Thank you.